The NCAA keeps losing one case after another, and one would think they would get the message, but they're not.
The NCAA doesn't have a history of really doing much reform or evolving on their own. For much of the change and reform that's happened, almost all of it with the NCAA, it's been as the result of lawsuits and forcing them to make these incremental changes.
The NCAA and college sports, there's two ways for change. And one of them is legislation, and the other one, to a degree, is to expose and if need be, embarrass the NCAA. But legislation has been the root of most change that has taken place.
Most decisions in college athletics today are made because of money and competitive equity. How can I be better than the other team? How can I be better than the other guy or girl? Those are the decisions that are being made today, and athletes are not involved in that process.
Talk about athlete representation. It's not putting 17-year-old athletes on a board of governors. It's about giving athletes the power to select 40 and 50-year-old former athletes to represent their interest vis-a-vis the institutional interest.
I'm encouraged by what I've heard and seen and read from certain members of Congress. I think that they're looking at college sports much more seriously. Their staffers are studying it. Their staffers are reading academic and scholarly papers on the subject. They're calling us regularly at the Drake Group.
We're leaving it up to the states and the universities to address it. As we previously said, they won't address it because if they do address it, they actually undermine their own bottom dollar. So with Congress addressing it, it basically is a federal mandate that this is what you have to do. You have to take it. And I think once the first bill is out there, it won't be too long until people start deep diving, contacting their own senator and say, hey, something's not right. We need to continue moving forward in this direction.
Many might think getting the federal government involved is a bad thing for intercollegiate athletics, and I understand that, and I certainly even respect that view. However, we are at a point with more dysfunction in college athletics, and it's certainly getting so far away from the mission.
The NCAA's mistake is that they are so well liked and appreciated that somehow Congress will be benevolent and just give them an exception. And that's just simply not the way Congress works. They expect change.
For so long, college athletes have believed that they don't have any rights, and that has contributed to their inaction, to their lack of civic engagement in their own issues, and to a sort of anxiety or depression when it comes to NCAA, rules and regulations.
As a logical solution, we can't have a long-term state-by-state patchwork policy and expect any type of level playing field.
Getting Congress involved is through a change in the culture of bringing the NCAA back to what it was created to do, and that is protect the health and well-being and education of the athlete. If they don't do that, in my mind, they are purposeless